All right, we're following some breaking news in St. Augustine. Listen up. State Road 16 on Masters Drive. There is a very tall plume of dark smoke. There's a photo of it. You can see it for miles. Now, we don't know if anyone is hurt. We have a crew on the scene. In fact, we're working on getting her to us in just a moment. Right now, it's just rumors and hearsay what's going on, so we'll hold off until we know exactly what is going on. But a lot of you are calling us, and we appreciate it. And we're on this, and I'll have a report coming up in just a few minutes.
We are following some breaking news in St. Augustine. We have new video into the newsroom and new pictures, and also we understand there are evacuations now. What you're seeing is that dark smoke, an explosion at the BP station. This is on State Road 16 and Masters Drive. Where is that exactly? Well, it's east of I-95. If you're going south, that's on the left-hand side by the Outlet Mall. You can see how thick that smoke is. We have crews on the scene we'll talk to in just a second, but we understand there are some possible injuries, and we have confirmed with the Sheriff's Office that 1/2 mile of that BP station, that radius, folks there in that area have been evacuated.
Jessica Clark, I believe we do have her on the phone. Sorry we couldn't get to you before, Jess. Give us your location and tell us what you know.
Hi, I'm at Masters Drive and Ravenswood Drive, two very small streets, but just down the road because I'm on Masters. That's where the BP station is. So I'm about a mile away from the fire, maybe a mile and a half. As mentioned, there are evacuations underway, and the traffic here on Masters is being rerouted right where I am. We're seeing a lot of smoke in the sky. However, I will tell you that the smoke has shifted. It's not so much straight up in the air like we saw it earlier. The dark smoke, though, under the tree canopy that I can see if I get down a little lower, still incredibly thick. What is surprising to me is that it is still billowing, and I have been seeing this billowing smoke just coming out probably, I would say, for the last 20 minutes or so. Again, now on Masters, getting pretty thin, at least in one direction, because the evacuations are underway, obviously, and obviously working. So people have been told to leave this area and cannot get back into this area where I'm on the edge of. This is a gas station that is frequently used. The smoke can be seen for miles in St. Augustine. I was about, I would say, about 8 to 10 miles away, and I could see it. People were calling me, telling me, if you look out your window, you can see it. Someone from the St. Augustine Lighthouse told me that they can see it from the lighthouse, and that is a good distance away and also across the water.
And as Jessica is telling us, that this is not necessarily a super congested area as far as homes are, but there are stores there. We've figured out, we think that does not, the evacuation area that is, does not include the Outlet Mall. But again, this is between 95 and US 1. And Amanda Zisman has been checking our traffic because this is such a busy area here.
Actually, Amanda, stand by. Video that has just come into us. There it is. You can see just how thick and dark the smoke is, but obviously it seems to be petroleum based since it was at the gas station. But also look at the flames in comparison to the tree line. I mean, I can only guess, we can all only guess just how tall those trees are, but that is an enormous fire.
Well, and Jessica was just saying that people across the water at the lighthouse can see it easily, and there, from that perspective, you can see why. In fact, I'm sure you can see it even farther away than the lighthouse area. Volano Beach and so forth, I'm sure folks are wondering what's going on, and we have no idea what has started this. We've heard before at gas stations a cell phone could even spark a fire, but we don't know what has started this fire. And Amanda, over to you now. Where should people go if they want to be in this area but avoid all of this?
Well, Jeannie, I just got an update from FHP that they have actually shut down State Road 16 in this area, as you can probably imagine from that smoke and the explosion. So that's definitely going to impact those that are trying to get out of this area. Now, you can use State Road 207 to reach I-95 or US 1. This is actually just west of US 1, east of I-95 off of Masters Drive on State Road 16. So 207 is going to be a good alternate route for you. Also, County Road 214, that would be a good alternate route for you as well. Now, they are rerouting, police are rerouting traffic onto the Lewis Speedway, so you can try to avoid that area as well, because you can probably imagine there's going to be a lot of cars out there. So again, State Road 207 or County Road 214 are going to be the best alternate routes for you. So you're going to see a major traffic jam out there, lots of heavy smoke. So use extra caution. Definitely get out of there if you can.
And we're talking, thanks Amanda, we're talking about the traffic. I know it's a tertiary issue, only because we have not yet confirmed if there are in fact injuries. We know there are possible injuries to this. We're working on that and much more on that throughout the afternoon. Now,
Jessica told us earlier that she was about 1 to 1.5 miles from that fire. Now she's changed positions. Is she still on the phone? No. She hasn't. She's getting some more information from the officials there, and we'll get back with her in just a second. But let me encourage you, if you are in this area right now and you have some perspective that we're not sharing with folks, feel free to call our newsroom, 633-8808, or feel free to send in some pictures to firstcoastnews.com from your perspective and share your local expertise so we can continue to inform our viewers what's going on. But that is a massive fire. As you say, that smoke is thick, not just miles around, but miles and miles around.
The truck was
Stand by 1 second.
At the time when something sparked the explosion.
Okay, we're understanding now that the truck was refueling at the time that something sparked that explosion. We're looking at new aerials right now. This is an amazing plume of smoke. New video just in for the information center now. And again, brand new information, a truck pulling into the BP station there on State Road 16. As you look at the flames just absolutely licking the sky there, take a look at how they compare to where the trees are. That is an enormous plume of fire and smoke right there. But a truck was apparently refueling and something ignited, and that's what caused the explosion. I don't know if that is the person who's injured. We don't have any confirmation on which person is injured, if in fact it's just one. But that is apparently at least where it started. We still don't know why the explosion occurred, but we know that it was during a refueling incident.
And we were told from Fire and Rescue that it was about 4:30 when the first call came in, and the fire is still burning all this time later. So what amazing pictures, and you see the scope of this fire and this explosion. And we'd heard perhaps a second explosion, though I don't think we've ever had that confirmed.
Well, we had a gentleman talk about hearing metal creak and
but I think that was prior
the ground
to the
shaking.
first
right.
explosion.
And Jason, forgive me if you've already answered this. I've been trying to listen to producers and reporters in my ear at the same time I'm talking to you. But are there electrical problems where you are? Have you lost power?
Yeah, Paige. As a matter of fact, whenever they turned on the news to watch you guys, just about 10 minutes after that, I mean, y'all came on the top with the breaking news, and all of a sudden my power went out. So I don't even know what's going on in terms of that. But I don't know if it's out because of the explosion or probably for safety precautions.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. We've got some new video in that we want to take a look at. Apparently, we've been sent some video of the actual initial explosion itself. So let's take a listen here and see if we can hear it.
Where? Right here.
Boy, that is just amazing video. You could tell the force of that explosion, and obviously that not the first one. I don't think unless the explosion came after the fire.
Well, we had heard, Donna, earlier from a witness who was driving by the gas station at the time that there was a fire first and then an explosion.
Okay.
And then, as you heard on the phone there, let's listen to this one more time.
Oh my God. We gotta get out, though.
And then Jason just told us on the phone, he lives 3 blocks from there. He said there were perhaps 5 to 7 that have happened right in the early minutes of this fire there at the BP station. An hour and a half ago, there was an explosion at a gas station called Skinner Oil. It is a BP affiliate station. When apparently when the driver of a fuel tank was either loading or unloading fuel, it started the fire, which then set off several explosions, between 5 and 7 explosions. 1 person has been hurt at least. There is no power to that immediate area. This is just, let's say, between a half mile and a mile west of State Road, or of Highway 1 at State Road 16 and Masters Drive right now. Again, you can see how big this fire is, and so we don't know if there's how much damage there will end up being or how many injuries total.
Now, obviously, this is a huge fire. We're getting help now from other counties into St. Johns County. Captain Roy Hall is with JFRD. He's been a firefighter for 23 years, lots of experience. He remembers the tank fire on Talleyrand in 1993, the worst petroleum fire he has fought. He's on his way right now. Captain Hall, how hard is it to put out a fire like this?
Well, fuel fires are difficult in that they can't just be extinguished with water. They require a different extinguishing agent. Not being there yet, not sure what's going on. Just fuel in general, fuel is actually lighter than water, so it actually floats to the top. And so we can't smother it like we typically do fire. So we depend on foam, which changes the characteristics of water and makes the water actually lighter than the fuel and forms a blanket which will smother it. But if you can't get to the top of the fire, if it's in a container, in a vessel, or something like that, then there's other methods that we have to do to try to get the agent to where the fire is to disrupt.
Jessica, you have new information for us?
Hi, I've actually moved my location. I'm a little closer to a neighborhood that I was told has not been evacuated. Just got out of the car, and the people here I've just spoken to, they are leaving. This is the area of Fortuna and Monterey, two streets in a neighborhood where there are tall pine trees. And I am looking at the smoke just, I mean, it's just way above the trees. And still this just thick as mud, black smoke, it seems, just pouring into the sky. Quiet little neighborhood back here, probably typically peaceful. But right now, people are trying to get out and have been told that they need to leave. This is not a voluntary situation. The helicopter from the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office, you can probably hear it now, right above me, because we are so close to where this fire is burning. And the people here are on their way out. And I'm gonna just make sure that you've been told to leave in your area.
Yeah, they came through the neighborhood with the speaker, and then when we tried to come in the neighborhood, police wouldn't let us in unless we were coming to get family.
Okay, and I don't know if you heard that, but this person who lives here was telling me, just like what I've seen, that sheriff's deputies, patrol cars were going through the neighborhood street by street with a loudspeaker telling them that they needed to leave.
Dealing with the fire here, the fire department asked Florida Power and Light to de-energize, the power in that area. This affected about 4,300 customers at about 5:30. Since then, they've been able to bring about 2,000 customers back. So there's about 2,250 left without power in that area. Again, this is for customers of Florida Power and Light. A little more than 2,000 customers still without power because of the big fire that we're dealing with down in St. Augustine. And we're awaiting word from the fire department on when they can turn the power on, back on for the rest of those folks who are in that situation right now.
It's interesting to me, Shannon, that briefly we did see the plume. And as we've seen through the fire season, that our Doppler can pick up some pretty significant fires. From hearing from Jessica is that the smoke plume has not changed at all. And yet, again, here we are zoomed in. I'm not picking up the plume we did initially, but we are no longer now. In fact, let's check it out. Here comes a sweep. So this is a live look at what's going on down there. I'll zoom in a little bit closer, and we'll see the sweep actually go through where the fire is. So there goes the sweep, and not seeing the plume whatsoever. I don't know if that means because it's going more vertical before it's being blown off to the west and the northwest. But
yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
If it's just too narrow a column, perhaps.
Could be. Briefly saw it, but don't see it now.
Well, Jeannie, the big problem is those trying to evacuate, because the portion that of State Road 16 is closed is usually the way that people exit that whole area in St. Augustine. So you could use County Road 214. That's not going to take you to I-95. Now, you're going to want to use 207 to reach 295. 214 would just be another way to get out of that whole area. So people, a half-mile radius being evacuated. There's a lot of cars trying to get out of the St. Augustine area. 207 to 95 is your best alternate route. We are also seeing slow traffic on 95 northbound, though, as a result of people stopping by to take a look at all that heavy smoke that's out there. So just avoid St. Augustine if you can. If you're trying to get out, State Road 207, again, is going to be the best alternate route for you.
You can't put water on this type of fire, so they've been bringing in some of their tanker trucks from the fire department and putting foam on this. And what they do is they, it's similar to when they're fighting a forest fire. They are adding soap to the water and putting that on because it kind of helps dissipate things and keeps something wet on there without it necessarily being water. So We saw just a couple minutes ago another one of those trucks heading towards the scene, and it looks like they are starting to let a few cars go through here. They just opened this up at State Route 16 and South Collins Avenue. It looks like it's only people maybe who live in the area that they're letting through, though.
All right, it is just a minute before 7 o'clock. You're watching WJXX ABC 25 First Coast News coverage of an amazing and large fire in St. Augustine at a gas station. About 4:30 this afternoon, something sparked this fire at a BP station at State Road 16 and Masters Drive. This is the result. A 2.5-hour-old fire, an evacuation a half-mile radius around, at least one person taken to the hospital. We don't know the severity of his injuries, and power out to more than 2,000 people still in that area. And the fire, at least as far as we know, continues to burn, though our colleague Claire Sims is there, and the smoke has knocked back quite a bit, finally. Shannon Ogden along with Patty Crosby here for what would be First Coast News at 7, but is a continuation of this dramatic story this evening.
What did it feel like when you felt it the first time?
It felt like similar to the, you know how a rocket breaks the sound barrier? You know, when you hear it? Like that type of boom. But I mean, it's a strong explosion because you probably figure I'm at least a mile away from it. Maybe, I would say a mile.
And you said it kind of shook your house?
Yeah, I could feel it. It felt like somebody run into my house.
And what did you see?
I noticed a couple explosions. I actually was leaving from my house in Royal St. Augustine Golf Course, and it looked like it was a regular house fire when I left my house. And by the time I got down towards the scene, you could tell it was something a lot larger than a house fire. I got on my cell phone and took a couple pictures on my cell phone, and then I realized it was more explosions. There was probably about 3 or 4 more explosions that I captured on my phone.
What was that like to feel? I mean, you are obviously very close.
Right.
What was it like to be right there and have something? Did it kind of blow you back a little bit?
Yeah, it actually shook my video on my phone. It scared me a lot because of the fact that you felt like it was going to come towards you because the wind was blowing our direction. So it seemed like the flame was getting larger and larger, and you thought it was going to head towards us. So yeah, it was a little bit discomforting.
Yeah. How long would you say it looked like it was getting worse before it started getting better?
I don't know. That's a good question. Probably about 30 to 45 minutes or so. It seemed like it was getting worse and worse, and all of a sudden it started to calm down a little bit.
Wow. And how long before the fire department was on scene? I heard they were here pretty quick.
They were. Actually, there was a couple of fire department vehicles there when I arrived, and I would say it was within 5 minutes when I got there.
We have heard now from many people that there were, say, 5, 6, 7 different explosions, all sort of describing the same thing. All describing the enormity of those initial flames and that black smoke that has now burned for 2 hours. The last half hour has been kicked back to a thinner, grayer smoke that really has dissipated a lot. So apparently the firefighters, are finally getting their arms around this gasoline-fueled fire in St. Augustine.
Jessica Clark has been out there for more than 2.5 hours now, going from neighborhood to neighborhood. And Jessica, where are you right now?
I'm currently about a quarter of a mile down State Road 16 west of the fire, west of the BP station. The smoke has dissipated quite a bit. The smoke, though, you can still smell in the air. I've been talking to some of the people who are kind of standing here on the side of the road with me, wanting to know the latest, and most of us agree the smoke is affecting our eyes, our throats, and few people even have some headaches. But people are just curious about what's going on. I did talk to a person who was actually working at the BP station when this happened. She said the place just shook. She looked, she said, "What's going on?" And another employee said, "Just get out of here." And she did. She's fine, but she was really shaken up.
Currently, the fire seems to be being brought under control. I know of no immediate threats from the cause of this fire at this point in time. So at this point in time, there's no evacuations ordered. There's no voluntary evacuations. Simply, the fire department is working to get the hot spots under control, and we will certainly reach out to the public and let them know when all of the roads are open and everything can be returned to normal. Of course, the fire department will continue their investigation throughout tonight and possibly into tomorrow to determine the cause of fire.